Alright, welcome back to Rage Forest 4. We've got game number 2 here in one of the quarterfinal games, no, the third place final game, sorry, between Team Villese and Team Ganji. And it looks as though we're starting midway through the recording here. Now, apologies guys, I am doing this just off what's on the AOE2 recordings website, not live. So unfortunately I don't have the earlier half of this game. We've got Team Ganji here with Ganji in the blue on Malay, Repard in the green on Franks, Sleepy Swede in the light blue on Slabs, FedEx in the silver on Italians. Up against Team Villese, with Nick actually behind enemy lines at the moment, with Dragonstar here in the red on Incas, Nick in the yellow on Koreans, Avenka on Persians in the purple, and Villese in orange on the Britons. So we're actually seeing relic acquisition in a Black Forest game. Bit interesting, I hadn't seen any of that so far, with the pace of the game weirdly enough being a bit too quick for it. I mean, team games in general, it's hard to contest relics just because there's 4 times the number of hands and brains active on the map as there is in 1 versus 1. And on top of that, the number of relics in team games doesn't really seem to scale up with the player count. So, you know, in 1 versus 1, you tend to have maps where you've got 5 relics. 2 versus 2, it tends to be 7. 3 versus 3 and 4 versus 4, I think it's only like 9 or 10. So, and again, we sort of missed the early game here to see if anyone was laming boar or managed to sneak some early military production over the other side's base, over into the other team's base, but seems to be not all that far off the later stage of the game. So we sort of skipped what could have been the boring part of the game if there wasn't any early aggression or cheese. But Dragonstar, his walls are being torn down at the moment by FedEx, and Repard is here to support him with a lot of these Cavaliers. Dragonstar having to throw down another line of defense, and on top of that, he does have the town center he's getting his Imperial Age from somewhat exposed here in this little side path. He might want to even try and wall off over here as well, just to keep this safe. So the wall off is going to be finished in time, but he's going to want to slam the lock gate button as quickly as possible here once he finishes the gate, just so he's not having a whole bunch of units stream straight into his base. Over here, Villese and Ganji, things have really hit a bit of a stalemate for the time being, though Villese doesn't seem to have a trebuchet in here to start tearing the walls down. Well, Ganji does. Dragonstar hitting Imperial Age. Repard and FedEx is really scary comp, and the starting town center is about to be taken out. So Dragonstar starting to really lose a lot of ground here. On top of that water economy is ripe for the picking as well. Doesn't look like there's a huge amount of water here. Oh, FedEx has got some water here. Doesn't really seem to be too much other... Oh, yeah. Ganji's got a bit of water as well. None for Villese. None for Avenka. Nick has some water eco as well, so... It seems to be overall fairly even in terms of the amount of water, but this seed doesn't seem to be all that generous with water, because oftentimes you'll see 3 or 4 players being able to take water on each team rather than just 1 or 2. Yeah, that's now quite exposed there for Dragonstar. Levenka backing him up with a lot of paladins here. So the hand cannoneers really only going to have to worry about the paladins. Well, if they can thin out the halberdier count, then paladins of Repards are under no real threat then. So Nick getting the last of the Imperial Ages. It's a bit odd considering he's been sitting back here as the pocket, so you'd expect him to actually have quite an easy time getting to Imperial, getting all that boom out uninterrupted. But granted, we didn't see how the early game went, and he did invest in a couple of war wagons over there, but ultimately must have slowed him down enough. But even some of the flanks, well, even all of the flanks had outpaced him in terms of their teching speed. So Team Villese just going for it here because Dragonstar is starting to really run out of space. That's a scary combined composition there of FedEx and Repard there for Team Ganji. Well, Villese with Arbalesters there, and Ganji actually trying to use his trebuchets to take them out. The Arbalesters in a small unit mass like that aren't actually all that effective against the Trebs. They're only really doing 1 or 2 damage a shot. Dragons are actually trying to gather from all 3 of those gold mines. So they've got a bunch of elite eagles in the mix too. That's a lot of hand cannoneers and paladins there for Team Ganji at the moment. Backed up by that siege as well. Nick's built a lot of forward keeps here just to be a nice help to his allies. Levenka, a lot of paladins in the mix here too. Swede now starting to send in a lot of halbs as well and go for a forward castle. He's even got capped ram there, which has actually taken a long way round to get on top of that dock. In fact, it was never going to get to the dock considering it's a wall off there, but it's exposed wall. Villese have to creep forward a little bit and try and work away at the trebuchets of Ganji, but it's not working out as well as he hoped. He's using his own trebuchets to try and cut a path through the trees, but unlike the mangonels, or the onagers I should say, he's having to do this tree by tree. He's not able to take out a whole clump of them at once. Now he's trying to use the trebs of his own to back up his Arbalesters here. And taking heavy fire from those trebuchets, because again, they've got to land 150 shots to actually take out a single treb. Sleepy Swede's now taking out the dock of Dragonstar, who's falling behind everyone on score, but so Swede actually. He's not got the greatest of scores here, so he must have been copying it a little bit up this central choke point earlier on in the game, which we unfortunately didn't get the joy of seeing because of the replay starting pretty much when I started it. So Swede, all of his military production now a little bit exposed because it looks as though Team Villese has started to really pull ahead on score a little bit and gain a bit of ground over here on this left edge. On the right edge, Villese going to try and get a castle fairly forward here. There is already a pair of trebs denying that from going up. skirmishers should be able to pick off individual arbalesters pretty quickly, and on top of that there is a bunch of paladins coming through. At least he's going to have to try and take this fight though. Oh, he just walled off over there. Have to try and take the fight in the tightest choke that he can here. Just really deny a bit of melee damage incoming. On top of that there's plenty of skirmishers there as well, but some of them not quite involved in the fight. Swede now losing a bit of production at the moment. Dragonstar with a healthy ball of infantry. Villese and Nick. Well, sorry, Avenka able to support over here while Villese and Nick hold on this right side while Ganji and Repard are starting to push and gain a bit of ground. Looks like the market line for Team Ganji is spanning the whole map here, whereas the Team Villese is not quite as solid. So you got 42 on the caravan trip there versus what's going on here. Oh, 93. Oh, okay, never mind. It actually is a larger trip. That must have been an incomplete run there. So who else have we got here? Repard. 127. So yeah, it's actually about 30 more gold here for Team Ganji than it is for Team Villese on the market line, because obviously these guys, their markets are stopping here, whereas they're stopping all the way at the back of the map for Team Ganji at the moment. Now Dragonstar's little barracks over here. And Town Centre going to be under a bit of pressure, although FedEx is actually retreating at the moment because it looks like Avenka has found a way through the gates. So this is really dangerous for Team Ganji at the moment. A lot of these caravans are going to fall. And there's no quick way to clean up this many cavalry units. So it's going to be very drastic for Team Ganji's economy, and in the meanwhile, Team Villese, this might give them a bit of pressure behind enemy lines that actually allows them to make a lot of ground over here, start taking out the water economy of Ganji over here, or start really pushing into Team Ganji over on this side with Sleepy Swede and FedEx. Dragonstar, in spite of losing all of his starting base, is in a great spot at the moment and is starting to push into Sleepy Swede while all this is going on. So Repards have to try and help out on the market line itself rather than actually helping out on either flank. Nick's also bringing everything up to try and support Dragonstar and Avenka here at the moment. There's a bit of a 1 versus 1 going on over the right side of the map, while in this sort of center left gap it's a bit of a 3 versus 3 going on, but again a lot of the trade here has been interrupted. On top of that, with the army standing on top of it, that's also another thing that does slow it down a little bit. So as these caravans are coming through, they're having to reroute, make their way around the hand cannoneers and around all this cavalry of Repards. Looks like all these defensive castles protecting that caravan line are about to be taken out as well. This is not great for Team Ganji at the moment. He's actually got a hell of a lot of markets over here, but he will have one over in one of these far corners, I'm sure of it. Yeah, which is his? Does he have a market in the far corner? Surely he does. Oh no, he's got one back here, but then these are all macro markets. Venka just parking a couple of paladins here as well. Cannon Galleon. He's trying to take out the keep, but the Archer Ball is focusing that down. The Paladin now trying to take fights against Halberdiers, and there is a Bombard as well for Ganji here. Repard just in time. Should be able to get a couple of these villages and even cut through this stone wall and take out the Trebs. While this is going on, Nick and Dragonstar doing a great job of moving forward here, forcing FedEx to have to commit to a lot of bombards just to keep the market line safe. Avenka once again on top of the market line, going to be able to get some caravan kills here. So Team Villese starting to pull ahead of Team Ganji by a score lead of about 3,000 at the moment. Ganji having to delve out the handouts. And Ganji is also losing his water economy, so that's a lot of fishing traps with an insane amount of food on them that are now all for naught at the moment. I didn't realize fish traps actually had so much food on them. That's unbelievable. About 2,000. He's on Malay actually. Let's have a quick look. Triple the food for Malay fishing traps. That's insane. So, I mean, I knew fishing traps did a little bit more than farms, but couple that with a multiplier of 3 and you've got an absurd 2,100 food for, what is it, like 50 or so? No, like 80 wood? 67 wood. So you do the maths, that's a pretty massive return on investment there. Now those fishing traps and all those fishing boats being taken out, but while that's happening, that's no doubt keeping all this military of Villese from focusing down the military of Ganji at the moment. Sleepy Swede's starting to really cop it and fall behind everyone in terms of score, considering it's his base that has been the real staging ground for this battle for Team Ganji's market line. But Nick's managed to go for a lot of forward towers here as well. And these trade cards for Ganji are all going to start getting picked off. So they're all actually trying to rally directly underneath the castle, which is not ideal. So Repard trying to add some more production here, a little bit closer to the action and support his teammates out, tie up some of the enemy military as well while that's happening, but maybe too little too late here. Ganji trying to go for some docks, and this time I think it's to try and actually get some warships out. You can get cannon galleons out, you can take out the keeps and the trebuchets quickly, you can get some just regular galleons out, you can take out the longbowmen, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. Well, another castle of his falls, and it's a big blob of purple, yellow and red inside Sleepy Swede's base at the moment, which is exactly the colours he doesn't want to have inside his base. A lot of defensive bombard towers there for FedEx, and as good as that is for preventing any sort of harass from going down on these caravans, it's also a big resource commitment, and it's that plus all these other military buildings in this area is actually slowing down the caravans a little bit. Ultimately you probably want to delete that lumber camp, make another one over here, but saying that, then you're in firing range of the trebuchet. Villese creeping forward with a lot of bombard towers, a lot of keeps as well. It's now into Ganji's wood eco. In fact, all of this up here is going to be exposed as well, and Team Ganji calling it quits there. GG, well played.